My hair's doing something crazy. I also need to wash it. What's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be doing a Q&A / first trimester update, and I'm super excited. I'll be going into my second trimester this Friday, so on Christmas Day I'll be hitting 14 weeks of my second trimester, and I am so excited. I'm ready to have that energy. I'm starting to feel the energy again, because man, your first trimester, it's rough. Especially with a toddler. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of update you guys on what's been going on my first trimester, and then you guys also asked me some questions over on Instagram. I left a little box in my stories for you guys to ask me any questions you had, so I cannot wait to answer those. Okay, so before I get into the questions, I'm gonna kind of update you guys on what has been going on before we announced my pregnancy. I did my last video, my day in a life, I did mention that I have hyperchronic tension, so I have very high blood pressure and we're monitoring it. So when I found out I was pregnant, of course I called, made an appointment. I had a new doctor because I had to get new insurance. And so meet my doctor for the first time, went in, and we actually ended up doing the blood pressure like testing thing 4 or 5 times because they were all super high. And I'm not talking like 130, 140, like I was hitting like where they were very nervous. It could have been like stroke level high. And I was hitting almost high 150s. And it was, yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking. So with Charlotte, my first pregnancy, I didn't have high blood pressure until the very end. And that's when we found out, I actually got induced with her and found out I had preeclampsia. So I had high blood pressure then, but it was the very end. I was around 37, 38 weeks. So it was just kind of odd. So we did blood pressure twice, then did my normal, checkup, met the doctor, all that fun stuff. And then they did it 2 more times before I could leave, and he's like, okay. He's like, he wanted to put me on medication, so we went with that. When I got blood work done, I got extra blood work done because he wanted to check like my liver and other things to make sure nothing else is going on with this high blood pressure. So all my blood work came back great and normal. And then picked up my prescription and started that medication. Then he wanted me to come back a couple of days later, so my appointment was on Tuesday, I was back Friday, just to go in for blood pressure. And he wanted me to monitor it at home as well, which I actually have the little machine at home. So that's nice. And went back that Friday and it was still very high. And so we decided to keep me on the medication. It was a very low dose. I only took it once a day. And so we're like, all right, let's just go from there. So I left my doctor's appointment that Friday and stayed on the medication. And he wanted me to come back 2 weeks later, which I already had an appointment lined up for 2 weeks later to meet with my midwife and go over lab work and then set up more appointments. So it was actually supposed to be a phone call appointment, but he wanted me to come in person so we could do my blood pressure again. So I'm like, okay. So I'm on this medication for about a week. I've only been taking it for a week. And I was getting nosebleeds. And they're not like your normal nosebleeds. Like I know during pregnancies it's common to get them. But mine were like dark red and it was just nonstop all day. Like I was blowing my nose, blood was coming out. I even took Q-tips, was cleaning it, TMI, cleaning my nose. And it was not normal. And then I had a bruise on the back of my leg that was just like purple. It was probably about this big. It was the back of my leg and just was not going away. So after being on the medication for about a week and noticing this, I was telling Travis and my dad, and I was like, I'm stopping medication. I'm not taking it anymore. Like, this is just very odd. I emailed my doctor and told him that I stopped it. And then my blood pressure's been very normal. I was 120s, 130s. So they were all like hitting where we wanted it. So I was like, I'm going off of it. I'll see him and I'll see my midwife in like a week. So off medication for a week. My bruise started going away. My nosebleed stopped 2 days after I stopped medication and I felt great. So then my appointment came up with a midwife, talked to her, and same thing, was just a checkup with her, checked my blood pressure. It was high the very first time, and then before I left, it was totally normal. And it's white coat syndrome, guarantee. But it's still something we want to keep an eye on. So and I wrote everything down. Like I wrote down every time I took my blood pressure, what it was. I did 2 to 3 times every time I did it. I usually did it 1 to 2 times a day. And so she took a copy of it and emailed it to my doctor because he wasn't in the office that day. And She says I'll wait to hear from him. She goes, but yes, stay off the medication because that's not good. She goes, if we do notice more in your higher blood pressure again, we might have to get on a different medication. So I'm like, okay. And of course, back in my mind, I'm like, is this all safe for me to take because of the baby? And of course, there's only a couple medications you can take for high blood pressure, which is kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. So I'm not on it anymore. I'm only taking calcium vitamins, baby aspirin, and then my prenatals. So that's what's been going on. Okay, so that's my little backstory about what's been going on. Let's go ahead and jump into these questions. Okay, so I got all the questions here that you guys asked over on Instagram. I just kind of screenshot it so it's easy for me to get through them rather than scrolling and all that. But yeah, anyways, there are some good questions on here. There are a couple duplicates, but yeah, some very good questions. So let's go. So this first one is, how bad was morning sickness? So my morning sickness actually with this pregnancy has not been that bad. And I am so stoked because with Charlotte, I felt like I was hungover 24/7 and had no appetite, and it just was not fun. This one I did have, it was around week 6, week 7. I had a couple days where morning sickness was not fun. It was not hot. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't have an appetite. I just did not feel good. A couple times I thought I was going to throw up. But that was about it. And then this past week, I've been waking up nauseous, in the middle of the night. It's around 11, midnight, 11 to 1 in the morning, around that time period, or time frame, I get a little nauseous, and it's really weird. But I'd rather be nauseous at nighttime because I just lay in bed and eventually fall back to sleep rather than being nauseous during the day. So that's about it. My morning sickness has not been bad with this pregnancy, and I'm very happy about that. All right, next one is first trimester cravings. I could thank my best friend for this one, and it's wontons. She is actually pregnant too with her second. We're a month apart, so she's due in May, I'm due in June. But we went to her house and her husband made wontons, and ever since then, that's all I want. Legit, Travis makes them once a week for me. Wontons. And then Shirley Temples have been my new thing, which I'm sure you guys saw my last day in life vlog. I made Shirley Temple. That's been kind of my go-to drink. But wontons have been my biggest craving. So this question is, were you trying? And yes, we were trying. We actually started trying in July. So originally our wedding was supposed to be in July, and after we got married, that's when we were going to start trying. And then when our wedding got postponed, we kind of talked about well, maybe we'll just wait. And then it got around June, July, we're well, why don't we just start trying? Why don't we stick with what we wanted to do and just do it? And we're all right. So we started trying in July, and then of course August was a negative test, and then September was a negative test, and both those months I swore I was pregnant. I remember telling my friend, I was I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant, my boobs hurt, I'm nauseous. I go, but what's annoying about pregnancy symptoms is they're the same as period symptoms. So I swore I was pregnant those 2 months, and they were both negative. So that leads me into these next two questions I got. And that is, how did you know you were pregnant, and how did you know when to take the test? So, like I said, August test was negative, so we started trying again in August, and September was negative. And in September, we're you know what? Well, let's just try it. And that was our last month to try, because then it was pushing it into our wedding for next year, because our wedding's July next year. So I'll be having a 1-month-old at our wedding and a 2.5-year-old. So we're well, if we don't get pregnant this time around, then we'll wait, and we'll probably start trying closer to the wedding date. And yeah. So I took a test because I was 5 days late. I did not think I was pregnant. No. So, because I swore August, September I was pregnant, and they were both negative, and then this time around I was feeling kind of the same way, where it's kind of nauseous, but I wasn't. And then I remember being at my friend's house for her son's birthday, and that's when she told me she was pregnant. And then I was telling her, I was well, I'm 2 days late. And I go, but I think it's just late. My period's late. It's going to come. She's okay, whatever. And by day 5, it wasn't there. And I was all right, I'll buy a test. So I went out and bought the test, and sure enough, it was positive. That line was so dark. I took 2. I took 2 tests. And you know how you have the positive line, and there's the other line, I forget what it's called. Pregnancy brain. I forget what it's called. But that line was just gone. The positive line was there. And it was nice and dark. So yeah, that's why I took a test, and how I found out I was pregnant was I was 5 days late and decided, well, I guess I should take a test. This next question is, what was Travis' reaction to the news? So when I saw the test, like that line showed up, I didn't wait the full 3 minutes. I literally waited like 2 seconds when I saw that line pop up. And the minute I saw that line, and then the next line was like barely there, but I grabbed that test and ran into our room and jumped on the bed, and because he was just laying there, he like just woke up from literally just woke up, and I like shoved it in his face. I was like, look, I'm like, it's positive. And his reaction was like, we both started crying, like hugged, kissed each other. We were super excited. And he's like, I told you you're pregnant, because he did. He told me, he's like, you're totally pregnant. And he told me I'm pregnant because my mood was totally different. I was definitely different leading up to taking that test. But yeah, he was like, he definitely called it. He knew I was pregnant. So his reaction was very sweet, super excited. We both were emotional and cried. And then I called my doctor about an hour after that. And this next question is, how'd you tell your family? So we live with my dad and brother, and we told them the day after. So I'll pop a picture here on the screen. It's super cute. So I had a onesie, a plain white onesie for Charlotte, and I pulled my Cricut machine out and just put pumpkin #1. And then I already had a shirt that had a pumpkin on it from when I was pregnant with Charlotte, and I put #2 on it. And we're actually making our Halloween costumes for Halloween, because that's when I found out. I found out October 26th. And so we're putting our costumes together. So my dad was like, hey, you guys want to see our costumes? And they're like, okay, sure. My dad and brother are like, whatever. So I put my shirt on, I put Charlotte in that onesie and brought her out and had her walk over to them. And my dad's like, oh yeah, you're my #1 pumpkin. And then he looked over and saw my shirt and he's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's how we told him, was with the shirts. And then the day before Halloween, we actually went over to my mother-in-law's house and saw her, because we actually were going to a Halloween party that night. So she was watching Charlotte for us, and then we stayed the night. But we did the same thing. I walked in with a shirt, but I had something covering it so you couldn't see. And then we handed Charlotte to her, and she was like talking to her. We're like, Charlotte, did you show Grandma your shirt? And she saw it, and she's like, oh, #1 pumpkin. And then we're like, yeah, look at Megan's shirt. And she looked over and she's like, #2, cool. And then kept talking to Charlotte. And me and Charles looked at each other, we're like, did you see my shirt? And then got so excited. And then, so she's super stoked. My dad and brother are stoked. I saw my sister, I texted my sister that we were pregnant, sent her the picture of us. And then I saw her a week later. But yeah, so that's how we told our family. We wore these cute little shirts. I'll put the picture up here again for you guys so you can see it. But yeah, that's how we told them. This next one, are you hoping for a boy or a girl? Well, I would love a boy. Travis would love a boy, because we already have a little girl and love a boy. But if we have another girl, I'll be super stoked. Be a girl mama. Be so happy. Girl dad. Travis would love it too. We already both talked about that too. We're like, if you have another girl, like, we'll be super excited. Like, girls are fun. They're sassy, and Charlotte's my mini-me to a T when it comes to her sassiness and frustration. She is me. But we both would love to have a boy. Next question is last baby, and as of right now, yes, this is our last baby, last pregnancy. I'm enjoying every minute of it, even the uncomfortable parts of pregnancy. I'm enjoying it, and soaking it all in. But I mean, down the line, who knows? Like I said, as of right now, but down the line, we could change our mind and want a third. But I think we'll both be just super happy with 2. If we have another girl, we'll be stoked and totally happy with it. If we have another boy, we'll be really excited and have 1 of each. But yes, this is my last pregnancy. This one, do you have any guesses whether it's a boy or a girl? So I think it's a boy. Travis thinks it's a boy. My best friend thinks it's a boy. Here's why I think it's a boy. So this pregnancy is completely different than Charlotte's, like complete opposite. Like I said, my morning sickness is nothing how it was with her. I have the biggest appetite. I want to eat anything and everything, which makes picking out food a lot harder than normal. It's trying to figure out what I want, because everything sounds good. meat. I want chicken, beef, like burgers have been like one thing I've been wanting a lot besides wontons. But burgers, chicken, like bring it on. I want everything. Yeah. So that's one reason why I think it's a boy. Because it's definitely different than Charlotte's pregnancy. And then another reason why I think is I'm looking at pictures of when I was pregnant with Charlotte around this, like over my stories on Instagram, I post a picture of me at 14 weeks with Charlotte and then now, which I'm 13 weeks and 4 days. So Christmas Day, I'll be 14 weeks and I'm definitely a lot bigger and I'm carrying lower than I did with Charlotte. So that's why I think it's a boy. And then same with Travis, he thinks because I'm carrying lower it's a boy, and then I'm definitely like complete opposite than I was with Charlotte too. So that's why we think it's a boy, but I could be wrong. Because when I was pregnant with Charlotte, I swore I was having a boy. I think it's a boy, but I'm not trying to get my hopes all up about it. Charlotte is not having it. I'm not getting my hopes up about it because it could be a girl. But Travis, I'm pretty sure it's a boy. Fun. How's it being pregnant with a toddler? It's exhausting. Very exhausting. I knew it was going to be a lot with a toddler. That's why I mentioned that I'm so excited I'm getting energy back and hitting my second trimester and getting that energy, because man, that first trimester, especially those first, like that first month and a half, you're so tired. And then having a toddler on top of it and you're chasing her nonstop and then you're not feeling good. Like, luckily my morning sickness was not that bad. I couldn't imagine feeling the way I did with Charlotte now. I couldn't imagine having that like hangover feeling and taking care of a toddler. Like it's a lot, but it's not that bad. Like, it's just exhausting. I'm very tired. Like I said, but now I'm getting that energy again and it's not crazy. All right. Favorite part of pregnancy. Favorite part is the baby movements and then the growing belly. So I liked being pregnant when I was pregnant with Charlotte. And like I said, I'm enjoying this one extra more since our last. But I love the baby kicks and like feeling the movement. And then I love the growing belly. Okay, so this next question. What it's like, honestly, being pregnant during a pandemic. So, it's not horrible, but it's different. Like going to my doctor's appointments, it sucks that Travis cannot go. Like, he can't go to any of my visits with me. He can't go to the ultrasound appointment. He can't, so that, like, we'll be able to see the baby on the screen, hear the heartbeat. So that's kind of a bummer. Like, I couldn't imagine this being on my first pregnancy and him not be able to go. Like, that's gotta be hard. And then, like, we wear a mask going into the office. They check my temperature, ask you all if you have any symptoms or been around anyone. Like, that's what I'm always asked every time I go. But I'm also I'm very cautious and careful about who I'm around or where I'm going. Like, I still run errands and get out of the house because I don't want to be stuck at home. I just don't want, like, I need to get out. But when I do go out anywhere, I make sure I have hand sanitizer. I wash my hands when I get home. But I did all this before I got pregnant and when I was pregnant with Charlotte. So it's kind of a normal routine to me. That's kind of how I feel about all of this pregnancy with a pandemic. It's very odd and it's weird and it sucks. What has been the difference between each pregnancy? So, kind of mentioned this a little bit already. Like with Charlotte, I felt morning sickness with her. Like, I felt like I was hungover all the time. Like, it was that kind of sickness. And then this one, I haven't really felt much morning sickness. Cravings were complete opposite. With Charlotte, all I ever wanted was Mexican food. So we ate Mexican food a lot. This one, my cravings have been wontons. And then I want meat all the time. I could tell in pictures already that I've carried higher with Charlotte and I'm carrying lower right now. So that's the difference I could tell between the two pregnancies as of right now. I'm sure it'll be more as we get further along. And then this other one is, what's been the common things between each pregnancy? What's been the common things between these pregnancies? Probably my mood. My moodiness. Poor Travis. I'm definitely extra moody and needy, I guess you could say. That's kind of the only thing I can think of that's like common between the two, is I'm definitely more like bitchy, very moody. Yeah. It's kind of the only thing I think of right now. I'm sure I can ask Travis and he would probably think of a couple things, but that's all I can think of right now. And then, do you know the gender already? So we'll be finding out hopefully next month. Do like an early ultrasound. If not, we'll find out towards the end of January what we're having. How are you feeling? Thank you. Well, I've been feeling great. I've been feeling really good. I'm super excited. I get very emotional. Oh, that's a difference between, I'm gonna go back to the one question, what has been difference between each pregnancy? Emotional. Was super emotional when I was pregnant with Charlotte. So, I'm emotional still, emotional with this pregnancy, but not as bad as it was with Charlotte. I swear I cried over everything. That's actually how I found out, I knew I was pregnant with her, is I cried over my dinner being wrong. Yeah. This one, I'm not as emotional, but I'm still emotional. Okay, let's go back. So how I'm feeling, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Like I said, I'm getting my energy again. So I have been emotional, but it's usually when I see Charlotte and she's growing a lot. She's been so talkative lately, and it's so cute, and it makes me emotional because my baby's getting big. And then I get emotional because she's not my only baby anymore. And she's going to be a big sister, so I get emotional about that. But overall, I'm feeling great, super excited. I'm definitely exhausted and uncomfortable at night lately. I don't remember being this uncomfortable in the beginning, sleeping wise. I still sleep on my stomach too. I end up on my stomach, so it doesn't bother me. But I do switch sides back and forth. My side nerve is acting up already on my right side, so we're looking to doing physical therapy for me to kind of help with that. But overall, I'm feeling great. What were your very first thoughts when you found out you're pregnant? I was so excited. Like I said, the minute I saw that line pop up, I grabbed the test and ran and told Travis. I was very excited. I got emotional in the bathroom when I saw the test turn positive, and then I got super emotional with Travis about it and just full of excitement. What are you most looking forward to about having two little ones? Them being siblings. I'm super excited to see Charlotte as a big sister. I'm the oldest of three, so it's fun being the big sibling and having your little ones, little siblings, take care of or help mom with. So that too, I'm excited to have Charlotte help me. But I can't wait to see the two of them grow up together and play together and just be best friends. If it's a boy, they'll be great friends. My brother and I are really close, and I love it. I love the relationship we have, so I can't wait to see the relationship that they'll have together. How long were you guys trying? I got pregnant on the 3rd try. So we started trying in July, and then I got pregnant, I found in October, so we conceived in September. How far apart will your kids be? So Charlotte will be 2 next month. So end of January, she'll be 2. So they'll be almost 2.5 years apart. Yeah, right? Yeah, hold on, let's see. So she'll be 2 next month. Baby's due in June. 4, so let's see. February, March, April, May. Yeah, so she'll be a month away from being 2.5. So they'll be about 2.5 years apart. And then this last question is, what was the worst and best part of your first trimester? The worst part, I want to say that I'm already uncomfortable with sleeping. And then the few, the exhaustion, how tired, with the toddler. I think that's what I feel is the worst part of my first trimester, is that how tired I am with taking care of another one, a toddler, and then being pregnant. And then I'm comfortable already trying to sleep, tossing and turning. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I don't remember being this uncomfortable until my 3rd trimester. End of 2nd, going to my 3rd trimester. And then the best part of the first trimester is that I'm already starting to feel the baby move. I didn't get to feel that with Charlotte until my 2nd trimester when I was further along. And so that is my favorite part. I love that I'm already feeling baby move. When I first started when I sat down to film this video, the baby was moving a lot, so it was fun. A bunch of little flutter kicks. That's what it feels like. It's just like little butterflies is what it feels like. And when I first felt it, it was kind of weird. I remember asking my midwife, I was like, I can't tell if it's like gas or if it's the baby moving. And she goes, I'm pretty sure it's the baby moving. And she goes, around, and that was around 11 weeks. She's like, around this week you can start feeling little flutters. I'm like, oh, okay. I was all excited. So that's like the best part of this first trimester, is that I'm already feeling baby move and I'm just like in heaven over it. All right, I think that's all the questions. Let me just go through and double check to make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, that's all of them. All right, so that is it for all the questions you guys asked me over on Instagram. This was so fun. I love that I was able to update you guys on what's been going on with my first trimester, with like how I was feeling before we announced, and then all the questions you guys asked me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I would love for you guys to join my little family here and stick around, because I do have some more pregnancy videos coming your guys' way. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave those comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!